Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. In my videos, I use both Vedic and traditional Western techniques with tropical astrology, not sidereal astrology. I also use the traditional system of whole sign astrology for my analysis. You can use this video to the best of your advantage by listening to the introduction to understand what the week holds for you, and then going to the timestamps for your sun, moon, and rising sign to get a more personalized forecast for the week ahead. Astrology is not designed to scare you. It's designed to give you information so that you know what the good and the challenging energies in the week ahead will be, and you can therefore consciously work with them to the best of your advantage. Remember, knowledge is power. Now, there are scammers about, and so if you should receive a message from me on any platform requesting your money for a reading, know that it is a scam. Report them immediately. And now settle in and let's see what the astral skies have in store for the week ahead. Hello, dear astro-loving friends. We are here today at the Patreon family to look at the new moon in Cancer, and what a special new moon this is. It is conjunct two very prominent and powerful fixed stars. There's a trine to Saturn and it's squaring the nodes. OMG, this is a report you don't want to miss. So this new moon is taking place in Cancer at 14 degrees of Cancer. Up here, we've got it at 14 degrees, and it's occurring on the 5th of July in most parts of the world, 6th of July in Australia, which is always a little bit ahead of the curve. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the new moon in Cancer and the general energy. I'm going to be talking about the chart of this new moon and all the energies that are playing into this new moon. I'm going to be talking about what it means if you have key planets interacting with this new moon. I'm going to be talking about the nature of new moons in general, and I'm going to be talking about the effects of the new moon for each sign of the horoscope. I know you love that part of the video each month. So let's talk, sorry about all the action going on behind me. We have one back door and everybody loves to use it. New moon in Cancer. What's the energy of the new moon in Cancer? It means that there are new beginnings occurring in your private life, because Cancer rules our private life. And it also means new beginnings wherever Cancer falls in your chart, which we'll talk about a little later. Some of you out there watching this video may be inspired to move house, because what does Cancer rule? Our home, our domestic life. Some of you might be having literal new beginnings in a brand new house. Some of you might be having new times, new beginnings, or new energy forming with your family. In fact, under this new moon in Cancer, it's often time to reconnect with your family in some way. There might be a significant event that occurs with this new moon that brings you all together. Another component of this beautiful Cancer new moon energy is that we are reminded to nurture ourselves now. Cancer is nurturance, care, compassion, kindness, gentleness. It's all those yummy, good feelings that we get when we're, having a nice soak in the bath, or eating a box of chocolates, or curling up on the couch with a hot chocolate in front of the fire on a winter's day. Those kinds of comforting, nurturing kind of energies. This is the energy of the new moon in Capricorn that might be emphasized now. It's also a time to review our goals. Where do we want to be? Think about the natural chart of the horoscope, where Cancer, let's get it right here, Cancer sits at the bottom. We've got Aries rising in the general horoscope, and we have Cancer at the bottom at the 4th house. This is about our foundation for our lives. And when we review our goals and our direction, we are creating for ourselves a new foundation. Where do we want to be? Where do we want to go from here? Because the only way is up. That's the way it goes. So we review our goals under the new moon in Cancer, and this is especially pertinent as it's the first new moon after solstice, and the sun, certainly in the southern hemisphere, we're getting the longer days starting to happen, albeit very early on in the piece, but they're starting to happen. So there is growth energy in the southern hemisphere after the Cancer solstice occurs, and this is the first new moon after the solstice. Now in the northern hemisphere, the days are going to start getting shorter. A different kind of energy in the northern hemisphere after the Cancer solstice. So it's not that it's a contracting energy, but whenever we have a new moon, it means something's got to end in order to make way for the new energy that wants to come in. So in the northern hemisphere, there might be a reviewing of our goals in order to let go of the goals that no longer serve us, that no longer align with our purpose and the structure and the foundation we want for our life. Another thing that we consider when we are having the new moon in Cancer is that we might be more, because we're more nurturing, because we're more lovey-dovey and warm and cozy and everything, we can allow people to get close to us under this energy. We tend to drop our defenses a lot more with this energy. The moon's at home here in its own house. Even though it's invisible, the moon is in her own sign. She is currently, and I've talked about this before, but she's currently Kesenya. Whenever the moon is creating a new moon, she's in front of the sun. She's come before the king. The queen of the heavens is before the king of the heavens. It's quite a powerful combination in that sense. Kesenya happens with the moon every single month, particularly, well, actually the real Kesenya is when we have an eclipse, because they fit together so perfectly. But it's just a semi kind of Kesenya energy that we have with every new moon. So the new moon is occurring in her own sign, and there's a confidence that comes with that. We can have confidence that things will ultimately be resolved for the best concerning any pertinent issues that Cancer may represent in our life, and we'll talk about that as we go forward. But now let's have a look at the chart of this new moon. Okay, as I said, it's occurring on the 5th or the 6th of July, depending on where you live in the world, and it's at 14 degrees here, right bang in the middle of Cancer. And one of the mantras we can incorporate for this new moon is that we will deepen our emotional intelligence through active participation with loved ones. Very much what this is all about when we're having a new moon in Cancer. But this is the most karmic, I would say, the most karmic new moon of the year. It squares the nodes, as I said before. So here's the moon squaring the south node in Libra and squaring the north node in Aries. This is no ordinary Cancer moon. Okay, but there's a beautiful trine also from the moon to Saturn. New moon to Saturn. Whew, that can give us the maturity and strength to endure whatever unfolds with this karmic influence with the moon, which I'll talk about shortly. The emotionalism of the Cancer moon, though, can go to a whole new level. Okay, we need to be forewarned, forearmed about this and practice balance, self-kindness, gentleness and patience with ourselves and also those around us. And last but not least, as I said earlier, we have two fixed stars involved in this particular new moon. Remember, there is only a 2-degree orb that we use when we are talking about the fixed stars. So the fact that this falls at 14 degrees means that this new moon is conjunct with the fixed star Sirius, the ancient star of Egypt that they really revered and looked to. And also it's conjunct with the projected ecliptic point of the one of the brightest stars in the southern sky, Canopus. It's second only to Sirius in brightness. Now, Sirius and Canopus are a long way from one another when you go out stargazing in the night sky. But how we work, or one of the mechanisms that we work with fixed stars with, is projection of the fixed stars onto the ecliptic plane. And this was practiced by scholars in ancient Greece, including Ptolemy, who wrote all about the fixed stars. Now, one of my heroes, Bernadette Brady, has developed or utilizes a different method of analyzing the fixed stars rather than this projected method, but both systems have been seen to work, and there's ample proof and research and evidence that both Bernadette Brady's system and the ancient system work. If you want to know more about fixed stars, if you're fascinated by astrology and want to learn and embrace as much of astrology as you can, then you're going to love the advanced level of the Royal Stars Academy that I am preparing. It will probably be out at the end of the year. That's when I anticipate having it done. Fingers crossed that's that I get my act together and can get it out by then. But that is when I'm releasing the next level, the third level of the Royal Stars Academy. And guess what? One of the theme topics is that we're going to be studying fixed stars. We're going to be doing a deep dive into fixed stars. I cannot wait. It's one of my favorite topics in astrology, ever fascinating, ever insightful, ever revelationary. You're going to love it. Now, third level of the Royal Stars Academy, just to let you know, my friends, obviously comes third. You start with introductory level, you go to intermediate level, then you do advanced astrology, the third level, and the final level, if you want to become a practitioner and get certified, is professional level. Basically, professional level will be, there's a couple of little courses I'll offer, but basically it's the production of a thesis. And that then gives you your Bachelor of Arts, so to speak, in astrology, through the International Institute of Complementary Therapies. So I'm just trying to titillate you with a bit of information about what's going to be coming out at the end of the year. If you want to jump in now and start doing the introductory and intermediate levels, you'll be well and truly ready by the time the advanced level comes out at the end of the year. Thank you for letting me give my Royal Stars Academy a little plug. I'm sure the description will be in the link below. But let's talk about these amazing two fixed stars when they are conjunct with a new moon like this. Well, Sirius is going to give an energy at this time of honor to individuals who have this strong in their chart. Maybe it's conjuncting their sun, conjuncting their moon, conjuncting their ascendant or something. Then this is going to be felt very strongly and prominently in this new moon, is going to amplify something in your life. Usually the ability to attract wealth or fame, honor, as I said. It's an energy of passion, so your passions can be heightened. Your emotionalism can definitely be heightened under this energy. It can give you, like I said, honor, but the favor of good people, the favor of good men. The favor also, Ptolemy noted, the favor of airy spirits is how he phrased it. Airy spirits. So the divine realm, the angels, the ethereal ones can be pulling the strings for your favor now. There's also, very interestingly, this new moon conjunct with Sirius gives the power to pacify nobles in ancient medieval phrasing. And that could be just what we need, given what the hell is going on in the world right now with all the upheavals and corrupt leadership and so forth. Let's settle those guys down. We don't want World War III. Hello, new moon, karmic new moon, conjunct with Sirius in Cancer. It can tend to make us more ambitious, particularly people who've got Sirius prominent in their chart, but we have a more grandiose outlook, we're seeing the potential and the extreme of potential in our lives. A conjunction of the moon with Sirius can also, a new moon I should say with Sirius, is good for business, prosperity. It can give, as I said, wealth and fame and favors from superiors and friends. So there's a lot going on for people who have this star prominent in their chart with their sun, their moon, or their ascendant, and the new moon forming on that point. Now, as I said, Canopus is the other star. Now, if you live in the northern hemisphere, it's unlikely unless you've been to the southern hemisphere, that you will have ever seen Canopus, but it is spectacular. It's one of my favorite fixed stars. It is an undying star. It circles the southern point of the, as Dave likes to use, the metaphor of the Zeppelin that our system is rotating around. And Canopus never drops below the horizon. It circles around that southern point. And it's so beautiful. It's so bright. I love Canopus. Now, what about when Canopus is conjunct with the new moon, as this one will be? Well, it gives an energy of conservatism. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes it pays to be a little bit cautious and a little bit wise with our decision making. It also can give us a more broad and comprehensive knowledge about where things are at, about our lives. So there's wisdom here. There's a conservative approach to things. Sometimes Canopus can give us voyages. And so some of you might be about to make a trip. Canopus in constellational astrology is in the bow of the ship. So very much about taking voyages, taking trips overseas. And the cool thing about Canopus, when it's activated in this way, it can change evil to good. This is noted by Ptolemy. How cool is that? And don't we need that on the planet now? So if you're into meditating or praying to the energies of the divine, this is the time to beseech Canopus for his capacity to change the evil that is unfolding on the earth into something good. The alchemist, the alchemy energy. Again, Canopus can bring somebody with a prominent placement here fame, for better or worse. Sometimes we're famous for things we'd rather not be famous for, of course. That can happen either way. It can also, I have to say, sometimes bring domestic or family problems. So this heightened sensitivity of the new moon in Cancer, all about family, conjunct with Canopus, can maybe exacerbate any family quarrels or issues or arguments that might be present, even in just a little way. So be forewarned, forearmed about that. Okay, so that's our fixed stars. Now, as I said, we've got this square aspect, a T-square forming with the nodes of the moon. Very important, very powerful. What does it mean when we have a new moon squaring the nodes? Well, it can bring us a loss of identity due to the dominance of another person. Now, this might be a one-off. It's not going to be like forever, oh my God, now you've got somebody dominating you, usurping you, talking over the top of you, and so on. It's only really the energy that might last for a week or two until we have a full moon. Okay, and this will be a second full moon in Capricorn. I'll talk about that in just a second. But there's an energy with this new moon of having your life somehow overthrown or dominated by somebody else who's just usurping you in some way because of the square to the nodes. Another thing this energy does represent is social revolutions. So keep your eye on alternative news media. Avoid mainstream media when at all possible, okay? You don't get the real deal from those guys. So find a trustworthy news source that's not mainstream and keep an eye on what's happening. Social revolutions are represented by the new moon making a square to the nodes. Sometimes on a personal level, we can have difficulty generating a vision for ourselves. We just can't see clearly. We're too caught up in our past and our the hiccups we had in the past are scaring us about taking a step into the future, and we can have difficulty under this new moon having a vision for ourselves. We might be sort of like despairing of what we hope for and dream for. Okay? Don't give in to despair. Recognize that this is just an energy and it will pass. Give it a week or two, then get back on track with your visions and goals and dreams. Don't let it drag you down. Another way this can express, and this is really a projection energy, so recognize it if you see it in yourself, is we can have a sense of hatred or even rage towards people who are in power, people who are in the spotlight for some reason or another, and we're angry at them, potentially because we're envious and we want to have our day in the sun. Now, I have to tell you, I absolutely do have a hatred towards people in power. At the moment, it seems like everybody in power is just corrupt to the core. So I'm afraid that's no news to me. The fact that the sun and the moon squaring the nodes together brings a hatred of people in power. Hello. But do with that as you will. If you want to do some self-examination and look at yourself, where are you harboring an envy for being in the spotlight or being in power or being in control? Use this energy to trigger some introspection, and then you'll be using it for the right purposes. It's actually time to work on a bit of enlightened selfishness, my friends. What do I mean by enlightened selfishness? Well, I'm not talking about being the temper-throwing 2-year-old stamping your foot because you haven't got your way. I'm talking about mature selfishness, where you're like, you know what? How can I help other people unless I love myself, unless I care for myself? I'm not talking about the new age overblown, I have to, love myself first and that kind of thing. I'm talking about, I think I used this analogy recently on my YouTube video, but, putting on your mask for air or your life vest first before you help other people. That's enlightened selfishness. I need to nurture, in Cancer, me first, so then I've got something to give to others, so then I'm not depleted. I need to make sure that I've got enough money in my rainy day bank account before I go being charitable to people in need. lest I end up on the street as well. This is enlightened selfishness. It's that balance between giving and taking. This is a time for working on that with the moon and the sun in square aspect to the nodes. And so we need to listen to the desires of our heart, the desires of self right now. And we need to put ourselves first in healthy ways. Make sure that you underline that and put a note on your mirror. Put yourself first in healthy ways now. Some of you might need to be reminded of that as we go through this new moon period. Now, the final thing I want to talk about with the chart of this new moon is the fact that it is trining Saturn. And this is a blessing. This is a blessing because this T-square energy can be pretty hard to cope with. Let's face it, any T-square has us feeling a bit lopsided. We really need to be focusing, in this case, on the Capricorn to balance things out. And fortunately, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, so there's this beautiful trine from the balancing side ruler to the moon. And when we have the new moon in a trine to Saturn, it brings us a sense of maturity, responsibility, patience, persistence, and determination that we just embrace naturally. We don't have to force it. We don't have to try. We're mature enough to navigate these rough waters of the square to the nodes. It is a good time to set goals because of the trine to Saturn. Goals for yourself that are realistic, goals that are achievable, goals that have practical end results. You know, your goal, Cancer energy, is to work in the garden. Your goal might be, I'm going to establish a veggie patch because God damn it, I need my own food. Who knows what Bill Gates is putting in our food? I need to grow my own veggies. So that might be your goal under this new moon energy. That's practical. That's being realistic. I need to grow my own food. That sort of stuff. Another thing that we can see with a trine between the sun and Saturn and the moon here as well is that relationships with men, masculine sun, masculine Saturn, relationships with men who are in superior positions to us, not that they're better than us, but they're in positions of authority over us, we can have more practical and beneficial relationships with those people now. So essentially, if you need to approach the government, if you need to approach a boss for some reason, and people in those sorts of positions, it's a great time to ask for favors. It's a great time to submit your application to the planning department. It's a great time to deal with authority figures and governmental figures under this new moon energy. Valuable guidance can also be received from elders, Saturn energy, and teachers. People who are sharing their wisdom, through, especially elderly teachers, the wise ones, the elders of our society. So achievement and recognition are also possible at this time as a result, the reward of previous hard work. So if you've worked hard and done your best and follow the rules, then you might actually get some sort of reward or recognition or benefit under this new moon. That's fantastic news, isn't it? Sometimes we can also find that the new moon in a trine to Saturn can actually cause us to take on more responsibilities. But responsibilities that don't feel overwhelmingly stressful, that don't feel like they're adding more onto our plate that we just can't cope with. It's responsibilities that we are just taking in our stride and feel good about and know that we can handle with ease. Great energy. So really this is a new moon because of this trine to Saturn, where we can have a growth in our personal satisfaction and contentment and a lifting of our self-esteem. Lovely energy. And then I must point out that after this new moon, right in the middle of Cancer, we're going to have another full moon in Capricorn. So we had one 2 weeks ago at the 1st degree of Capricorn, and then we've had this new moon right in the middle of Cancer, and then there's going to be another full moon at 29 degrees of Capricorn. This is like the wedge. Little old new moon in Cancer, the wedge between two Capricorn full moons. Very powerful, very karmic, and makes this moon, like I said, one of the most karmic new moons of the year. Very significant. We need to pay attention to this one, my friends. Now, what if you have key planets in your natal chart interacting with this new moon at 14 degrees of Cancer? Well, they're going to get activated. And that means that those people who have planets and points within sort of 5 degrees of this moon, sort of between 10 degrees of Cancer and 20 degrees of Cancer, anywhere in that range. You may feel this quite predominantly, and you are likely to see the fruition of something that you planted in your life previously, maybe 2 weeks ago at the full moon, 6 months ago at the full moon that occurred in Cancer, or a year ago when we last had the new moon in Cancer. So let's have a look, and keep in mind, do you have a prominent planet roughly at 14 degrees of Cancer or 5 degrees either side of that? Now, if you have your sun here, first of all, happy birthday. You're having your solar return. Fantastic. I hope you have a very wonderful birthday. This new moon will be playing out as a part of your birthday energy. The sun rules us as sort of a whole, and we might want to look at life with a whole new perspective. This new moon can help, give us a different outlook on things we've been experiencing. We can also have more vitality. We can have more energy. We might be presented with some new opportunities to try new things because of this new moon. Remember that the sun, which is the predominant energy in a new moon because the moon's invisible, the sun rules men. So some of you might be having very positive dealings with men, particularly men in authoritative positions. So this can be good, especially if you need the favor of men in authoritative positions at this time. But overall, as a result of this new moon, if you have your sun here, you should feel better about yourself and your life. Some of you, like I said, you may have trouble sleeping, but that's okay. Just know that what's going on, it's just the energy of the new moon. I would just suggest having some strategies, a bit of white noise, or listen to one of my YouTube videos to put you to sleep when you can't sleep. Okay. The next planet we want to look at is the moon here at around 14 degrees of Cancer, give or take 5 degrees either side, in conjunction with this new moon. The moon rules our emotions, and this is actually considered to be a positive aspect and very much a fresh start. It's like a double whammy new moon energy. So we tend to feel more at ease with ourselves at this time. We feel like a refreshing sort of energy. The winds of change are blowing through and we're okay with it. We have an ability to let our emotions out in a really constructive way. We can often get problems and issues off our chest without offending anybody under this energy too. So this is really good. Just be careful of any emotional outbursts, because our emotions can be a little more sensitized than usual. You might also have some significant interactions with women, or something to do with your home or your family. It could be good, especially if you've got some positive aspects involved in this. So it can be a good interaction with, a mother figure or a grandmother, or a happy experience in your home, that sort of thing. Then what if we have Mercury in a conjunction with this point in the chart? Mercury rules our mind. So a positive aspect here from the conjunction of the moon and the sun on your Mercury will help you to broaden your mind, help you to sort of see things from a new point of view, have a new, maybe you might be undertaking some sort of new mental venture, like doing a class or getting some sort of practical book, like a how to build a cupboard book or something like that, so a book about something practical that you want to implement in your life. We can also be thinking with more clarity under this new moon in a conjunction with your natal Mercury. And you can have an easier time communicating with others, sharing what you think with other people. Just, you can express yourself better. Your emails just make more sense. It can be really good in that way. Then we want to have a look at Venus. When we have our natal Venus around 14 degrees of Cancer, not Capricorn, Venus rules love. So this beautiful new moon conjunction is considered to be a positive aspect that actually for some people might bring new love into your life, or renew the love interest you have with the one you're with, refresh it, give it a new vitality, new energy. You might be feeling more romantic as a result of this new moon. And if you're single, you might be more inclined to initiate a relationship, to, buy a drink for that cute person at the bar, that kind of thing. Being social, spending time at parties and outings, even hosting a party might happen as a result of this new moon. And Venus is also creative, so you might see an increase in your creative capacity. Money matters are also ruled by Venus, so you might choose to spend something on yourself, to indulge yourself, to practice that enlightened selfishness at this time. So enjoy. If you go shopping, don't overdo it, of course, but you can buy something that really makes you feel good about yourself. When we have Mars here at 14 degrees of Cancer in a conjunction this week with the new moon, Mars rules energy. And so energy can be amplified here now. You have renewed vigor to get things done. You'll want to be active. And it's a good time for doing some exercise or starting a new exercise routine or doing something really physical like a marathon or the French bike riding race or whatever it is, Being sort of lazy, even in Cancer, being lazy isn't really an option when the new moon is stirring up the energy of your natal Mars. So, you won't mind. You'll get out there, go for a swim, go for a row, go for a jog, whatever floats your boat, and you'll feel good about it. Be careful because there is an energy of being a little bit accident prone. Mars rules accidents. So, if you're trying to overcompensate for maybe you're feeling a lack of energy, but you're feeling, so you don't have a lot of vitality, but you're feeling compelled to get out there and do something, that's when you can have an accident, okay? So if you're feeling tired, rest. It's as simple as that. Pay attention to your body. If you're feeling energized like the Energizer Bunny, get out there and go for it. Pay attention to your body and follow suit accordingly if you have the new moon conjunct with Mars. Now, if you have the new moon in a conjunction with Jupiter, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. You are so lucky to have your Jupiter in Cancer. I'm jealous. Jupiter rules optimism and expansion. So this beautiful positive aspect of a new moon with Jupiter can make you more optimistic about how things are going in your life and how things are unfolding in the world around you. Everybody likes a glass half full person. You might be feeling a bit more daring because the new moon energy with your Jupiter makes you feel so good. You think that, nothing can stop you. You're lucky. You're going to land on your feet. You truly believe you can make things happen. And as a result of this, because you feel it, you attract it to you. Jupiter is a magnetizing energy. You attract new opportunities to you to expand your life, to even protect yourself. Jupiter is one of the great guardians of our solar system, and you can attract energy that protects you and blesses you under this new moon energy in an exalted sign for Jupiter. How lucky. If you have something special happen, leave a comment, guys. I'd love to know how Jupiter unfolds for you in this way. The new moon in a conjunction with a Saturn placed here. Hello, that's me. So lucky me. Saturn rules our discipline and our maturity. So a conjunction with the new moon here on our Saturn might mean that we find it easier to be responsible. We find it easier to follow the rules. Lord help me, I need a bit of that. We find it easier to just do what is considered right by society under this new moon. Okay, that's nice. My controversial behavior won't be quite so impactful then, if that's the case. Career can be impacted when we have a new moon conjunct with Saturn, but in a positive way. There might be some advancement for some of us that have Cancer Saturn here. There might be some new opportunities that open themselves. Maybe new career directions could even start to unfold. Saturn also rules people who are older than us, our elders, especially authority figures. So we can also have an easier time in dealing with them. They not that they're benevolent towards us, but we just aren't restricted or blocked by them as much as we might otherwise be at other times. Okay, if we have Uranus here and we're having a new moon on our Uranus placement, then this could bring obviously some unexpected change that just comes out of nowhere because that's the way Uranus rolls, a shocking event, but generally of a positive nature. It'll usually be good, helpful change, a change that you can handle, which is a relief, It's going to be necessary to help you move forward, this change. It's going to come in your life to shake you out of a rut, perhaps, and help you move on to where the universe wants you to be. So trust that what happens is for the greater good if you have something unexpected happen as a result of this new moon with your Uranus. What about the new moon with Neptune here at 14 degrees of Cancer? Well, Neptune rules the subconscious, so a positive conjunction like this one can increase your fantasies because your imagination can be very much heightened as well. It can make your dreams more lucid. It can make your dreams feel more important. So pay attention to them. You can be more intuitive, more psychic, more aware of your surroundings and the subtle changes that are going on in people. You'll be more sensitive and hyper aware under this energy as well. So allow that to guide you, allow that to speak to you as a result of this new moon too. And finally, if you have Pluto here, I don't think anybody watching this video will have Pluto here. Yes, or maybe there might be some very elderly people. And if you are watching and you have Pluto in Cancer at 14 degrees, I thank you for following my channel and tuning in humbly and with respect. Okay, new moon conjunct Pluto. Pluto rules power. And this conjunction can help make you feel more powerful, more courageous, more daring. You might feel like trying new things, And, how many times have we seen a news story about the centenarian who decides they're going to go jump out of an airplane for the first time in their life, or go scuba diving and they've never done it before? This is what we're talking about. Pluto conjunct with the new moon. You might be feeling like doing something really wild. Now, it doesn't have to be anything dangerous, although Pluto is a daredevil. What is the name of the wonderful old lady that I follow who dresses like nothing I've ever seen before? She is fantastic. And it's a funny, kooky name. She's got an Instagram page with hundreds of thousands of followers. And I cannot think of it. Anyway, if you know it, leave it in the comment section below. Sparkly something is ringing a bell. But I love her. You might even just decide you are going to get out there and put on your pink lycra and your feather boa and just go take the world by storm. Why not? You're in your power with a new moon conjunct Pluto here in Cancer. Okay, let us now move along and have a look at what new moons are all about. Okay, well, generally speaking, you've heard me say it many times before in these readings, the new moon isn't the best time to set your intentions because it's dark, and when the moon is invisible, it's hard to manifest something. The truth is, at the moment of new moon, look it up online. If you've got solar fire, use solar fire. Otherwise, astro.com can help you find the exact moment of the new moon. When that happens, that's actually a good time to give over your desires and goals and dreams and intentions to the divine, because the moon, the queen, is before the king at that moment, and the king will listen to what the queen has to say. So that's my new interpretation of that energy. You've heard me say for many years, don't set your intentions. Well, in a sense, that's correct because the moon is dark, but I would tell the divine what you want. Send your wishes and dreams before the king when the moon is exactly conjunct with the sun. But then I would suggest sitting tight on those visions and goals and dreams until the moon becomes visible. Let the divine know, and then wait to put those dreams and goals into action a couple of days when the moon becomes visible, say on the 8th of June. It's also a great energy under the new moon to go inward, to ponder our dreams and goals and desires, and like I said, present them to the divine. It's also a good time to do, and I'm going to jump on this time around too, I really need this support, to do a liquid diet or a juice fast for the 4 days, 2 days before the new moon and 2 days after, because this is when our body releases most of its toxins and all of its unwanted waste products and unnecessary fluids we flush out. So it's the ultimate time to cleanse and clean your system. Support your body in doing that. You can do that by avoiding alcohol, eating pure foods and liquids. Assist your body in this flushing out process under the new moon energy. So that's my interpretation of the best ways to work with new moon energy at this time. See if you can implement that. And then we're going to be having a waxing moon growing. No, sorry, we're not. We're having a... Yes, we are. We're having a waxing moon the moon's going to be growing bigger and bigger and bigger in the sky until we have this full moon at 29 degrees of Capricorn. When the moon is waxing, it is growing, it is increasing, it's heading towards its full capacity. It's a terrific time if you want to increase your weight that you can. I tried to go on a diet last waxing moon. Bad idea. Actually put on weight, didn't lose any. What was I thinking? I should know better, shouldn't I? So don't even try. You really want to just eat steadily if you want to maintain your weight. Don't do anything out of the box. And if you want to put on weight, you're absolutely going to be able to under the waxing moon. It is a good time to start an exercise program, because if we start an exercise program, it's going to stick with us for the long term, okay? We'll be able to implement it for many, many weeks to come, not just a fly-by-night one day at the gym and that's it. It's also a really good time to do skin treatments like masks and peels, things that are designed to rejuvenate our skin while the moon is waxing and growing bigger in the sky. Good time for oil massages, good time for herbal compresses and moisturizing baths, because our skin is very, very absorbent under the waxing moon energy. Because our skin is so absorbent, it's not a good time to tan ourselves, because we're more prone to sunburn, we're more prone to dryness under this absorbent skin influence of the waxing moon. It is a good time to dye your hair, because hair will absorb the dye better. I find that, I always dye my hair under the waxing moon, and it lasts longer. It makes my hair feel silky and healthy when I do it that way. If by some chance I miss the boat and end up dyeing it during the waning moon, never as good. Never, ever as good. We can take care of our damaged hair under this influence as well. Get split ends trimmed and have a conditioning treatment. All that sort of stuff works really good. Eyebrow treatments are generally more successful under a waxing moon energy as well. And if we have any sort of plucking, or what do they call it, stringing, those string things, it makes the hair that we do keep growing thicker, and it fills in patchy brows. So some of you may like that. That might be a helpful thing. And if you're into gardening, planting new plants, not in the middle of winter in Australia, but maybe you're in a climate in the world where it's not intense heat or intense cold, it's a good time during a waxing moon to put in new seedlings, or in the case of winter in Australia, bare-rooted roses, bare-rooted trees. Great time for those sorts of new plants. Anything except root vegetables, things that are planted below the ground, should be done during the waxing moon phase, because plants will settle in and start growing faster and stronger if they're planted under a waxing moon. Word to the wise there for that one, all you keen gardeners out there. And that's all our introductory stuff. Phew, I hear you saying. Time to find out what it's going to bring you in your sign. Okay. New moon forming in the first house for Cancer rising, Cancer sun, and Cancer moon people. Obviously, if you're a Cancer, it's happening in your first house, the house of the self. So this new moon here is a great time to have a fresh start and make a new you. Get a haircut, get a manicure, have a pedicure, get a new outfit. Change your image. Reinvention of the outer self is very fruitful with a new moon in the house of the body and the image and the aura and so on. Make yourself look your best. It'll help you feel your best. It'll increase your sense of vitality. For some people, it might even increase their confidence, their overall approach to life, and even their stamina and their vitality. Fantastic. Doing also a bit of an internal overhaul is a great thing to do under this new moon as well. Checking in with yourself. How are you coming across to the people in your life? How do you want to focus on making change to better reflect who you truly are? Time to think about those sorts of things, especially if you're somebody, Cancer rising, who tends to hide who you are with others. This is a great time to sort of turn over a new leaf and say, I'm going to be more confident. I'm going to be more outgoing. I'm going to sort of express myself better and do that sort of self-analysis that leads you to a better version of you. Your energy can be heightened if you are having this in your rising sign, which is good because it can, having a new moon energy here can actually make you a lot busier than you usually are. More eager about life, more keen to try something new as well. You might want to meet new people. You might want to have new experiences and go new places where there are people that you haven't met before. Even if you're quite shy naturally, this can be the case with this new moon in the first house. You're just a little bit more courageous and more daring under this influence. So it's a good time to try something that you've been a little bit gun-shy about in the past. Be less likely to sort of shy away, and you probably feel you can get away with anything under this beautiful new moon influence. So why not? Being in the spotlight doesn't seem quite so uncomfortable when there's a new moon in our first house. So you might put yourself out there more. You might end up getting more attention that's coming to you naturally. People just focusing on you now with the new moon in your sign. So lovely. All right, thank you, Cancer. What about Gemini? Gemini rising, Gemini sun, Gemini moon people. That means that the new moon in Cancer is falling in your second house. Second house rules out disposable income, Gemini. So money matters are what this new moon is all about. There might be this new moon in your second house could signal a new opportunity or a strong desire present to increase your income. On the flip side, and there might also be an opportunity to spend some money as well. And I'm not talking about everyday items. I'm talking about comfort items. We're in Cancer here, guys. So, if you do have to spend money, make sure, try and be conscious about it. Try and make sure it's something that's truly necessary and not something you're going to regret later. That third couch that you're going to try and squeeze into your lounge room because it was so lovely and cozy and velvety, and then you're like, what the hell was I thinking? Be wary of impulse buying that you regret later under the new moon in Cancer energy. If it's something that you really do need, then this is an excellent time to buy it, and there's little chance of buyer's remorse. So if you've got a big purchase to make, this timing could actually be quite beneficial for you. If you're looking to streamline or to get your finances under control, this is also a good time. New moon is a great time to plan a budget and stick with it, especially as we're entering into the waxing moon that comes after the new moon, where we stick with what we implement. So great time for that. The second house also rules your self-esteem, my friends. So it can see a positive increase in the way you feel about yourself through some event that occurs under the new moon, or just a general feeling of value that you possess. You can choose to work on personal growth under this influence as well, and a needed increase to your self-worth. You might want to get more in touch with the sensory side of yourself. So, you might enjoy a bit of physical stimulation, get a massage, have a nice hot bath with some Epsom salts and that kind of thing. Do stuff that makes you sensorily feel really good, Be careful of overindulgence in many ways. Too much chocolate, too much time in the bath, you end up like a withered up old prune. But you are going to enjoy anything sensory that is luxurious and makes you feel good. So why not? New moon is a great time to do something like that for yourself. Thank you, Gemini. Taurus rising, Taurus sun, and Taurus moon people. The energy of the new moon in Cancer is falling in your third house. Third house rules communications, Taurus. With a new moon here, it might see you increasing the amount of communication that you have with people. On the phone, on the computer, sending text messages, or going out, not necessarily to parties in this place, but just interacting with people more. Being where the news is, being where the action is. Gathering information that you want can be easier now. So it's a great time to do some research or collect information that you're seeking, do the background work on a submission that you have to make or something like that. Really good time for gathering information. It's like it all just drops in your lap out of the heavens, which is fantastic. Day-to-day activities can really be wrapped up really and tied with a beautiful ribbon without feeling like it's tedious and full of effort to do so. Day-to-day activities are seen through the third house, and so you might have a great capacity to finish things off under this new moon energy. Remember, a new moon is the end of one cycle and the beginning of another one. A new cycle is starting, so real wrapping up kind of energy with regard to some sort of day-to-day activities. Maybe you've been cleaning out your cupboards and spring cleaning for a week or two now, and now you're done. It's all organized. Maybe you've been packing up to move house. Finally, all the boxes are there, ready for the removalists to come and take them away. The one thing is, though, it's a very busy energy, the third house. Even with Cancer here, it's just go, go, go. So there is a chance of feeling a little bit bored under this energy, like you haven't got enough to do. I encourage you, stay busy, learn something new, practice your instrument that you love to play, do a painting, whatever you need to do to keep life full and interesting. Avoid that boredom. It's a good time for making quick decisions. That's favorable. If you focus on one issue for too long under this new moon energy, it's going to drive you bonkers, so make that quick decision, stick with it, go for it. You usually will be right on point under this energy at this time as well. Just to make a decision and move on. You might also want to expand your mind with something new, learn something new. Feeding the mind under a new moon in the third house is a great way to enhance your energy. You'll absorb all that information so easily now, and it'll stick with you for a long time. This house also rules the siblings in your life as well. So you might be spending more time with your siblings, or you might have significant interactions with the siblings. There might be something that's going on in the life of a sibling that impacts you in some way as well. Short distance travel is part of the third house. So you could take a day trip, maybe go visit a special site or have a picnic somewhere out of town, something fun, something nice, just on a whim. You could also be working with your community in some way, your neighborhood. This is what the third house is all about, the neighborhood. You might be doing something for your community, volunteering, get my words out, or joining neighborhood watch, or picking up litter in the park or something like that. You just want to get in there and make a difference to the neighborhood that you love. That's the energies I'm feeling for my Taurus friends. Okay, Aries rising, Aries sun, Aries moon people. Okay, guys. Well, the energy of the new moon is falling in your fourth house, Aries. Fourth house is the realm of the chart that has to do with home and family. So having a new moon in the fourth house can see us wanting fresh starts with our home situation. So that can see us making new improvements or renovations. It could even be as simple as buying a new throw pillow, or, a coffee table book or something like that. We want to improve our living environment in some way, and we will do something of significant nature to do that. Cleaning up our home, certainly on the cards. Decluttering our personal space, something that helps us feel better about things. You know what they say, a cluttered home, a cluttered mind. So clean things out. Spring cleaning. I know it's not spring anywhere just yet in the world, but let's live in hope. Spring is coming, at least in the southern hemisphere, and clean out those cupboards or the pots and pan drawer and stuff. Clear your mind now. You might want to spend, Aries, some more time with your family under this energy, bonding or renewing or rekindling a relationship, or opening up to family about your true feelings, seeing as this is Cancer energy as well. Your emotions that you feel under this new moon might be deeper and more intimately inclined than usual. And that's great if you're with people that you trust and care about, people who support you and who you love. It's a good time for you to be a supporter of others too. Get in there and be a listening ear for people who are in your family or your intimate circle who need you, who need a shoulder like you to lean on. This is a time, Aries, where your intuition can be more developed at this time and as well. So listening to people, you're probably going to have good advice to give them, good wisdom to share with them under this influence too. Trust your first reaction. One of my teachers, Ernst Wilhelm, always says that women in relationships should listen to their first impulse. Act on first impulse in regard to the relationship, and not sort of mull things out and keep things to themselves, because that's when trouble brews. So same applies here. Your initial feelings are usually the right one. Act upon them in not a violent way or an angry way, but a gentle way. If you're feeling frustrated, say, honor that. I feel frustrated. Let's sit down and have a talk. I'm feeling frustrated. Talk it out. This is also a really good time to potentially, for some of you, particularly if this is triggering a key point like the IC in your chart, Aries, it might be a very good time to put the house on the market, to move, or to refinance a home in some way. You're also going to want to keep busy, and you'll probably have a bit of a flurry of activity associated with the domestic life, what's cleaning the home, working in the garden. That's the energy that we might be seeing here. Finally, I just want to conclude for my Aries friends that this is a great energy to establish some new long-term goals. Where do you want to be? What structures do you want to put in place for the next year? Because this is the foundation of your life. How do you want to restructure your life? This is a great time to reflect on that and come up with some solutions that you can implement in the coming weeks, days, months, even year. Thank you, Aries. All right, Pisces, rising sun and moon people. We're a bit lucky, Pisces. We've got this forming in our fifth house of luck. Hello. It's also the house of fun, Pisces. So you could spend some time going, wild at a party and having a good time, or getting involved with a much-loved hobby. You might be dragging out the sewing machine to sew some glamorous outfit that you've been thinking of for quite some time. Letting your creative juices flow when we've got a new moon forming in the fifth house. We also can feel a little less reclusive, Pisces. We might want to get out there more, feeling lonesome isn't really an option now, Pisces. This is a house of fun. So you might want to, go and have a good time. Quite frankly, I'll be doing some celebrating myself this coming week when this new moon occurs, having some fun for a special person in my life's birthday. So hello, Pisces energy, all good with the new moon in Cancer for me this week as a Pisces rising. I'm sure you're the same if you're Pisces rising. You're going to want to make your life more fun. If there's nothing for you to do and you're like, oh, nobody invites me to parties and I'm so bored, make your life fun. Do something fun for yourself. Like I said, feeling lonesome, not an option with this new moon in the 5th house. Creativity, creating feels really good right now. Like I've already talked about dragging out the sewing machine, but whatever works for you to be creative, get in on it. Might be a performance, it might be a party that you're organizing, something like that. This is the realm of the chart that also rules romance. So some of you Pisces people might be going out on a date now, whether it's with your existing partner to sort of kindle those romantic vibes, or whether it's with somebody new. It doesn't matter. There's romance in the air under this new moon. You might be running a bubble bath for your partner to share together, or putting some candles on the table for a dinner for two. It's going to be fun. If you're single and there's nobody on the scene, do it for yourself. Bring the romance into your life. You don't have to have a partner to be romantic. Just enjoy romancing the self right now. If you do have your eye on somebody, my friends, this is a great energy to ask them out under this new moon in the 5th house. Fantastic. Go buy them that drink or ask them out for a coffee, whatever it is. And if you have kids, 5th house is kids, so you might be inclined to spend some more time with them, maybe having a games night or a charades night or something with your kids. Why not? Another way this can manifest is that your children might require your attention for something at this time under this new moon as well. Also, you can get in touch with your own inner child. You might feel more playful. You might feel more carefree. What takes you back to your childhood? What makes you feel good about your childhood? I love my Barbie dolls. Maybe I'll go down to the toy store and have a look at all the latest Barbie dolls they've got in or something, But what makes you get in touch with that inner child? You can be bolder and feel more confident and better about yourself. You may not need the approval of people around you under this energy, and that's the best feeling in the world. Screw them. Enjoy being you. Love being in your own creative energy. Fantastic, Pisces. Okay, Aquarius, the energy of the new moon in Cancer is hitting your 6th house. I'm going to stop you from going for a walk there, my beautiful Aquarians. And what does it mean to have the new moon in the 6th house? 6th house rules health. So a new moon here could have a particular focus on your well-being. It could be your physical fitness, it could be your mental stability, it might be time to implement a new diet under this new moon or a new health regime, but make sure that it's something that you can realistically keep up with and not some fad that you're just going to quit in a couple of weeks' time, Be careful also about, be careful not to obsess about being healthy, Too much of a good thing can actually be a bad thing. Everything in moderation. So, be healthy, but keep it in balance. Your daily habits might undergo a bit of a change as well. This is our daily habits seen from the 6th house, and new moon can see a fresh start in that regard, especially if it's a habit that's going to help you restore some order to your life if your life's been out of balance. Maybe you've had a bad habit of eating too much chocolate and you're like, that's it, I'm going to rearrange my habits. I'm only going to have chocolate on a Friday night, not every single night of the week. You make a change that habit. It's a great time for doing that. Keeping things disorganized and cluttered is just not tolerated under the new moon in the 6th house energy. So it's time for cleaning out those cupboards, straightening things out, clearing the clutter, and making life work better for you in that regard. Some of you might be inclined to have a fresh start with a pet. And by that I mean you might be getting a new pet under this new moon energy, or you might get something special for a pet that you have and you really love, get them a new squishy bone to chew on or something like that. 6th house is also our work environment, so it's a good time to improve your work environment under this new moon as well. And if you can't improve your work environment, I'm talking flowers on on your desk and maybe a photo of a loved one in a nice silver frame or something that makes your desk feel, all those cool family vibes and beauty vibes, Cancer energy. If you can't do that sort of thing, if your work environment sucks and the people that you work with suck, this new moon might tell you, you know what, it's time to end this cycle and start a new one. Time to find a new workplace, a new work environment. Just don't set your heights so high that they're unattainable and you end up doing something that you regret. But for some of you, you'll know it's time to move on from where you haven't been feeling right. Some people, if you've got some unfortunate placements here, maybe Uranus impacting this new moon, some people might impulsively quit a job on a whim under this new moon, and then they're left, adrift. Don't let that happen to you. Be sensible. And you've got this beautiful trine from Saturn helping you to do that. So, if you're feeling the impulse to just chuck it in, take this job and shove it, take some time out to really evaluate what's this going to mean for me financially, career-wise. Keep in mind that any changes that you make need to be positive and well thought out. Saturn's going to help you do that at this time, Aquarius. That's what I'm seeing for you guys. Okay, moving along. Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun, Capricorn moon, people. Well, the new moon is falling in your 7th house, the house of the other people, all other people in our life. 7th house also, it rules relationships, all of our relationships. So a new moon here can highlight romantic relationships, business relationships, even relationships with enemies. So it's open enemies in the 7th house, the ones you know about, the ones that you kind of almost permit to be there in your life, So there can be an improvement with a new moon here, improvement to existing relationships, turning even your enemy relationships into positive relationships. You might write a letter to an enemy and say, look, this has gone on long enough, this childishness, how about we bury the hatchet and just get along? Could be time for taking that sort of action under this new moon energy as well. All good relationships that we do have should provide us with some sort of growth under this new moon energy. So, spend some time investing in your relationships, enhancing the relationships that you have in your life that mean something to you. It might be a good time also, Capricorn, to evaluate your ideas of intimacy and how you've work with the idea of individuality versus interdependency, and see if you've got everything in balance at this time. Great thing to do under this new moon. What else can I say about this? In a business partnerships are seen through the 7th house as well. A business partner might be very helpful in getting what you want accomplished at this time. And you're much more able to negotiate and be fair and find a harmonious agreement at this time with the new moon. Yes, your emotions can be a little bit high with regard to relationships now, but you've got what it takes to maturely, trine from Saturn down here, maturely communicate, maturely sort it out, and come to a satisfactory resolution under this new moon energy, and end up being a lot more comfortable with the relationships that you actually do have. That's what I'm seeing in your life, my Capricorn friends. Okay, moving along to Sagittarius. Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius moon, people. Well, the energy of the new moon in Cancer is falling in your 8th house. Fascinating house, house of crisis. It's also the house that rules other people's money. Things like debts, taxes, joint finances. With a new moon occurring here in the 8th house, you might have to deal with your debts. You might have to deal with some taxes. You might have to deal with joint finances. So it's a good time to pay off a debt under this energy, or to get money that's actually owed to you, as well as to get a loan or a line of credit, be that from a bank or some other source. Just make sure that it's a line of credit that you need, not something that you're going to splurge on and then regret ever after. The 8th house, Sagittarius, also rules transformations. So you might make some sort of transformation of yourself or your life at this time under this new moon. Why not? In fact, the 8th house is very connected to career change. Didn't know that, did you? It's a house of transformation. It's actually 11 houses, rewards and gains, from the 10th. 11 houses from the 10th means a career change that brings reward and gain. Transformation of a career that brings rewards and gain. So you might see that unfolding in your life in some capacity as well. So transformations that change your life and redirect your life, hopefully into a much better place. It mightn't be that you need to actually get rid of anything in your life, but it's about tweaking things to make them work better for you. sometimes a total overhaul isn't actually necessary. And small renovations, 8th house rules renovations, are all that you actually really need. You don't have to tear things down. If you don't have to tear things down to get them to work, then don't bother. You don't have to. Another thing about the 8th house is that your sex drive can increase. You're more hungry for it, guys and gals. Casual sex won't cut it, though. This is not the energy of the 8th house. It's about an intense, deep experience with a spiritual overtone to it, intensity accompanied by passion and love. And this is a beautiful thing. So if you've got the facilities to pursue that, enjoy every moment of it. The intensity actually flows over when we have a new moon in the 8th house to all facets of life. We approach everything in our life in a more passionate, powerful manner under this new moon. We look beneath the surface. We try and find what's really there, what's really going on. If there's nothing to find, we might be a bit disappointed, actually. We might feel that our personality at this time, even light, bubbly Sagittarius, might feel a little bit darker than usual, a bit heavier than usual. That's just the nature of the 8th house, and the new moon here can cause us to feel a bit heavier. And that's okay. Just allow that energy to flow, because it's only going to last a couple of weeks, and then we've got a new moon in your 2nd house to talk about. Stick around for that one in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you, Sagittarius. Alrighty, Scorpio. Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun, and Scorpio moon, people. The energy of the new moon is falling for you in the benevolent 9th house. The 9th house rules the expansion of our higher self through higher education, through philosophy. So having a new moon here could have you desiring to expand your mind, desiring to explore life in some way by being adventurous or getting out and participating in some other culture or discovering a new way of living and a new perspective. The new moon can get you going in that realm of life. The status quo is likely to no longer be satisfying for you. You might want to do something extraordinary as a result of the events of this new moon. You might feel, like I said, more adventurous. You might want to push the limits now, the limits of your mind, the limits of your physical existence. Your spirituality might undergo a change. You might want to explore your beliefs and discover new ones. Long distance travel is also a 9th house matter. So you could have an opportunity with this new moon falling in your 9th house, to travel to foreign places or spend time with people from foreign places. Even if you don't do the traveling, you might encounter foreign people at this time, or you might be trying some sort of exotic foreign cuisine that's really delightful for you. Enjoy it. The 9th house also rules the law, so legal matters can come into play under this new moon as well. It isn't actually the best time for long-term plans when we have a new moon here. Don't commit yourself to something. Don't commit yourself to something that won't be over quickly. If it's going to take a long time, like a court case or a procedure like that, try to bide your time before committing to it, okay? Just because of the nature of the new moon here in the 9th house. Also, don't try to do something that requires you to pay close attention to details. This is a house of the big picture. So you're going to be more interested in a broader scope right now, okay? Rather than the fine print. So don't go there. If you're a writer, this is a house of publishing. It's especially good time for that to be successful for you. You might get a publishing contract, or you might be able to put a pitch to a publisher under this new moon, and it can actually be quite favorable to do so at this time. Thank you, Scorpio. All right, Libra. Libra rising, Libra sun, and Libra moon, people. This is falling in an angle, therefore it's powerful for our Librans in the 10th house. New moon in Cancer. The 10th house rules career, life path, and authority figures. So a new moon here can reveal that you're going to get a bit of career advancement. So you might get more recognition, develop a different, an uplifted reputation. There might be a change in your life path, or there might be a circumstance where you have to deal with one of your superiors and get a level of recognition from somebody in authority over you. Present yourself as best you can at those times. You're very good at doing that, Libra. We all know. People might be watching you more so than normal at this time. So dress for the job, dress for the role of being in the public eye. Especially I'm talking about people watching you regarding your work and your accomplishments. So nothing underhanded, everything above board, and you'll be fine, Libra. It's difficult to keep things hidden at this time, so try to keep things on the straight and narrow, like I said. If there's gossip going around about you, ask yourself why. You know, it might be that there's some truth in the gossip that you need to address at this time. It might be that the gossip might be some sort of auspicious praise, you know, an appreciation. Celebrate it if that's the case. There can also be, under this new moon, for some of you, a promotion or the start of a new career path. You know, you will have the energy to make it happen under this new moon. You're likely to be quite busy with everything that you have to get done now. Very proactive energy, this one. Don't get overwhelmed by how much you've got to do, Libra. Simply delegate. Practice that. Thinking, you know, how can I get others to help me when I need it? It's important. It's how we cope with life. Sometimes the energy of the new moon in the 10th house can be a little bit intense and you can feel a little bit stressed. There's too much going on. So when you have a lot of important tasks at hand, stay focused, keep the big picture in mind, and keep on track as best you can. Don't forget to delegate to anyone else who can help you. You'll cope so much better. Now, long-term professional goal setting can be a really good thing to do under this energy. Where do you see yourself in a year's time? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, in terms of your professional goals? The goals that you set now are likely to be more realistic and more attainable, and they'll help you get further, one step at a time, in your job and your life. So take the time to plan those things out now. This is a house that has to do with structuring our life and has to do with goal setting. So make the most of that energy and use it for the greater good. Thank you, Libra. Virgo rising, Virgo sun, Virgo moon people. Energy of the new moon falling in the 11th house. The 11th house, Virgo rules friendships. So you might be spending time with a friend when there's a new moon here. You might feel like it's time to get honest with them and open up and share your feelings with them. It might be time for making some new acquaintances as well. Acquaintances that are likely to have an emotional bond with you and cause you to feel more connected to them, because this is Cancer energy after all. With your close friends, you might find yourself more emotional, sharing your heart, sharing your feelings, and them doing the same with you. It's a time for letting out what's inside with those ones in our life that we treasure and hold dear. They are going to be more responsive than they usually are too. They're going to be more supportive and give you that shoulder to cry on, as you will be for them. It's a very emotionally connecting energy, new moon in Cancer in the 11th house. So be social. It's a social house. That's being social professionally and personally. Time for getting out there and mingling and interacting with people. You can broaden your network of friends at this time. You can broaden your business connections at this time as well, that can lead to a great deal of prosperity, especially because this new moon is conjunct with the fixed star Sirius that can bring us a level of prosperity. So get out there, make it happen. It's a good time to join a new organization, to join a new group, especially if it's a group that is geared towards helping humanity or the world at large in some way. You're going to want to help others under this new moon, but probably in more of an abstract way, like donating to a cause rather than a one-on-one kind of like deal. And that's fine. If you feel the prompting, go with it, my friends. You might be very interested at this time in people who are different from you. In fact, you might be attracting very unusual, intriguing people into your life. And because you'll have a more tolerant, open-minded approach, you can actually develop friends at this time who come from very different walks of life to you. And that's a healthy thing. Be curious about people, their lives, their stories. There's nothing like it. It's a sign of maturity to be fascinated and curious by the lives of others. So exploring our dreams is very much an 11th house energy, and it's a good time to evaluate where you want to go in the future, where your trajectory is taking you, and are you on track for where you want to be and where you want to get to. All your hopes and wishes can come into focus now, and you might realize that some of them are not serving you well. So you might toss some hopes and dreams, change some, add some, or commit to some new ones now. Remember, a new moon is the end of an old cycle and the beginning of another. So there's a lot of getting rid of what is not serving you and welcoming in what will under this energy. Thank you very much, Virgo. And lovely Leo, thank you for waiting till last, my Leo friends. You are having the new moon fall in the, not the 11th house, the 12th house. This is a house of charity, of compassion. So it's a good time under this new moon energy to volunteer or to help somebody else who's going through a difficult time. Show them some love, show them some compassion. This house also rules hidden things, my friends. So there might be some dealings with secrets that need to unfold, Watch what you say carefully in case you let something slip accidentally that you shouldn't. The deep, dark recesses of the soul can tend to come out and be exposed under this energy. So, you don't want people to hear what maybe you really think about something, so be very careful. There's also an energy of working behind the scenes. That could be, you get a job as a backstage hand at the local town musical or something like that. Literally working backstage or behind the scenes, or maybe you're doing some work for a political organization, folding pamphlets or something like that, where you are, the worker bee behind the scenes. You might feel a bit like taking a bit of a back seat or wanting to quiet things down a bit under this new moon energy. That's okay. If that's how you're feeling, flow with it. It's cool. Just make sure that you're being open and honest, Leo, especially if you're dealing with other people. Be above board. Be an open book. Don't be sort of keeping secrets and hiding things unnecessarily. It'll backfire and you'll come back to bite you. You may want to spend some time alone under this energy, Leo, working on yourself, allowing yourself retreat and replenishment time. This is such a good thing. Not always something Leo gets into, but this is the time for doing it. The time of year for doing so, for retreating and being a little bit of a reclusive lion that you are, my Leo friends. Sometimes seclusion is the only way that we can repair. We get away from the distractions of life and we get down to the nitty-gritty of who we really are and what really nurtures our soul, especially in the sign of Cancer. It's a good time, Leo, to clear your mind. Clear your mind. For when we clear our mind of all the stress and all the worry and all the mundane things in life, then we make space for the healing to come in, the therapy to come in. We say goodbye to the anxiety and the stress. We go have a massage under this new moon energy. That's what I'm going to do. I'm a Leo person. I'm going to book in for a massage. And we find that freedom and that space, and that allows good things to come in and replace that anxiety, that stress, that worry. It's also a good time to explore our subconscious at this time. You might be getting some very prophetic dreams under this energy. You might be reading something really profound and it hits you like a lightning bolt. You might be reading some self-help books or listening to a lecture on a TED talk or something that just lifts your spirits. Very good idea under this new moon to do that introspective work in a practical way. This is a wrapping up energy for Leos more than anything, because yes, it's a new moon indicating new beginnings, but something's got to end in order for a new beginning to start. New moons are the end of a cycle as well. Here in the house that is representative of end of cycles too, the final house in the horoscope. So my Leo friends, this is an indicator that something's concluding in your life. Something is finishing in your life. It's a very karmic house too. And whatever is finishing now, there is a karmic reason for it. Remember, there is a square to the nodes here. There is a conclusion of energy that needs to take place in your life, Leo. Say goodbye to it. Let it go, whether it's a person or a career or a hobby or a home or whatever it is. Say goodbye to that old energy because something new is about to enter in. You've got a new moon coming in your sign next month, Leo, so stick around for that one. It's going to be terrific. My friends, thank you for joining me for this new moon horoscope. I hope you stick with me for the rest of the month and many months to come. Thank you for being part of the gratitude economy here at the Guiding Star Patreon family. I love you all.